What's up, everybody? It is Amrinder Singh. Today, we're going to talk about a future tense. I mean, like a simple future tense. And we will talk about how verbs change in future when we talk in Punjabi. So, as you know, there are few type of future tenses like simple future tense, future continuous tense, and two others. But mostly we talk in like a future simple, right? I'll do that, I'll go to there tomorrow, stuff like that. Mostly I think 90% of the time we talk when we talk in future, and we talk in future simple mostly, right? So we are gonna look at only this tense, all right? So we will talk like how verb change in future, right? So let's kick this thing off. We already talked about how verb change in past tense. If you haven't listened that episode, you can go on my podcast and listen 67 podcast episode. So you will find how verb change in past. So we are gonna take a couple of examples of the verb. So first, the most common verb is karna, alright, which means like a do, karna. Now, intenses mostly is used differently. Like in present is like a karda, like a kariyana, karya, stuff like that, right? It also depends on the pronoun, is plural, singular. That's how it changes. Same in the past, karya, karta, stuff like that. But in future, it's going to be like a kardunga, karlunga, or karunga. All right. Now, in these, they are also slightly different. So it depends on the sentence how it's going to be like कर दूंगा, कर लूंगा, करूंगा, कर देगा, कर लेगा, वो कर लेंगे, वो कर देंगे, stuff like that, right? कर देंगे, कर लेंगे. It all depends on the sentence. It depends on the pronoun, all right? So let's take examples first, like first pronoun and the second pronoun. The first pronoun is I, which means मैं, and the second pronoun is you, which means तुम. All right. So we are gonna take a look and take examples of these two pronouns. All right, and because I'm telling you, maybe if we're gonna choose any other pronouns like he, she, they, it could slightly change. All right, so we're gonna take a look of these two pronouns. For example, Juana gave a statement like I'll do this work tomorrow, right? I'll do this work tomorrow in Punjabi. ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ, right? ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ. Now, this is a normal, or we can say simple sentence or simple statement, right? That's how you say when you are gonna tell somebody about anything you do tomorrow or in the future. But now, for example, I want you to do something for me, right? How would I ask to you, or how would I say to you? Probably I would say like ਤੂੰ ਮੇਰਾ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਕਰ ਦੇਂਗਾ, ਤੂੰ ਮੇਰਾ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਕਰ ਦੇਂਗਾ, which means like, will you do this work, or will you do my work tomorrow, or can you do my work tomorrow? All right, that's what it means. All right, I can just say like ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਤੂੰ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਦੇਂਗਾ. All right, can you do this work tomorrow, or will you do this work tomorrow? Now if you wanna say yes, I can do that, or I'll do that, then you can say हाँ कर दूंगा. All right, and another example, if I told you like ਤੂੰ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਲਈ, ਤੂੰ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਲਈ. So it means it's a little bit different now. It's kind of future, but it's mostly recommend, right? Or I'm saying to you, or I'm giving a statement like you should do this work tomorrow, and you can say, I can say like you can say, "हाँ कर लूँगा," right? Or it means like I'll do. So now here's the difference between you also notice uh, कर लूँगा and कर दूँगा, right? So first when I asked like ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਤੂੰ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਦੇਂਗਾ, it means I'm gonna give you a work which is going to benefit me, right? Basically you are gonna do a work for me. Whatever I'm gonna say to you, you are gonna do it for me. And that time you always ask kar dunga, all right? Kar, you can't ask like a kar lenga or karli. You can't say that, right? Like tum aa kam kal nu kar lenga, this is also question. Kar lenga or kar denga, these are both question. But when we use kar lenga, it means it's going to benefit you, not me. It's for you. I'm just saying to you like do it tomorrow. It's for you, right? You can recommend, you can notice from that, right? So I'm gonna make it more clear. For example, I gave you my mobile phone and told you put it in charge, right? Put it on charge. Now I would say like our phone charge te la de. All right, our phone charge te la de. So this was my phone. It was not going to benefit any to you, or it's not related to you, it was related to me. So that's why I say la de, all right? But if it would be your phone, then I say it a little bit differently. I would say like a phone charge te la la, phone charge te la la, or a phone charge te la la. So here I just Lala because this thing or this phone related to you, not me. That time it's just Lala when it was not related to you, right? So then I use Lade. So basically in future, when you are gonna give a work or a activity to do for somebody else, if that activity not related to that person, right? Or it's not gonna benefit to that person, then you would use like they, da, do, stuff like that, and then like la de, kar de, all right? But if it is related to that person who is going to do the activity, then it's going to be like karla, lala, all right? That's how we talk. This is really important because you won't find these kind of things in books. Even your teacher won't tell you. They're gonna just teach you the formal because that's easier, right? But in talking, we use a lot of variation, and this is gonna be a little bit confused for you. And yeah, probably when you're going to talk, you can stick to your formal because it's easier. You can make these kind of sentences with like a sakda, tu mera phone charge te la sakda, all right? Like you ਤੂੰ ਆਪਦਾ phone charge ਤੇ ਲਾ stuff like that, right? But as I like talked about in a recent episode when I talked about like sakada, we very rarely use sakada, right? So we make sentences in different ways. But it could be easier like you just if somebody is asking you question, and it's easier to follow up. Basically, if somebody is using like and then just say that. If somebody is using law, then just say that. For example, tu वहाँ काम कर लेगा, right? And if you wanna say yes, you say हाँ कर लूँगा. You can't say हाँ कर दूँगा. If you say हाँ कर दूँगा, and the person who is asking you question, he will like what, where, like because he said Karlenga, he asked you to do that work because it was for you, and you reply like Kardenga. and sorry, so you reply हाँ कर दूंगा, and that person will live confused. Why? Like what happened, right? He would understand that your response is yes, but a little bit confused, and it is so unnatural. So basically when somebody is asking you question, just say that, like if he say kar denga, you say हाँ कर दूंगा. If he say कर लेगा, हाँ कर लूंगा. All right. Again, like if somebody gives you work and he asks you like आ काम कर देगा, now he is asking for somebody else, or he is asking for himself, not for you. It was not for you. Then he say कर देगा, you say हाँ कर दूंगा. All right. That time don't say like हाँ कर लूंगा. If you say that, the person is still like what, why he's gonna do it for himself, right? Because it's not related to you, it's related to him. All right. So yeah, basically just follow. If you respond and yes, just follow what the person said. If they say कर देगा, then you say हाँ कर दूंगा. कर लेगा, हाँ कर लूंगा. ला देगा, हाँ ला दूंगा. ला लेगा, हाँ ला लूंगा. All right. So your response should match to the question. That's pretty easy if you follow up the question. But like if you wanna say uh, this response in negative, you don't want to do it or you can't do it, then it's going to be different. Like if somebody asks you, "आ काम कर देगा," then you can say ना यार कर नहीं सकता. All right. Or ना कर नहीं सकता. Or you can say ना होना नहीं. ना होना नहीं. All right. So basically ना होना नहीं means like it don't want to happen, and ना कर नहीं सकता, I can't do it, right? मेरा फ़ोन चार्ज ते ला देगा, right? Can you put my phone on charge? You can say ना ला नहीं सकता, right? I can't do it, I can't put it. You can say ना यार लगना नहीं, ना यार लगना नहीं. Like it won't it won't attach. So there's a difference. Like when you say na yaar lagna, it means there's something wrong in the plug, right? Because it won't connect. When you say na la nahi sakda, it could be any kind of reason for you. Maybe you're busy, maybe you're going to somewhere, you don't have time, right? So that's how you can respond. So I think it's easier if you just stick to say like a sakda. If somebody asks you to do something for them, yes, just say like I मैं नहीं कर सकता. It's easier for you to follow up. All right. But if you respond going to an yes, then just follow up what they are saying, and then that's what you need to say. So this is why when teacher give you a homework, they always say "आ काम कर ली," right? When they say "कर ली," that's a little bit kind of order, less strong. But if they ask you question, they say "आ काम कर लोगे," right? Because they are talking to all the students. "कर लोगे." They never the teacher won't say like "कर देगा" or "आ काम कर दोगे," because if they say "कर दोगे," it's going to be for teacher, because the teacher gives you homework. It's not for teacher, it's for you, right? That's why if you pay attention when teacher is giving a homework to kids or students, they always say the sentence with the law at the end, like आ काम कर लियो, right? आ काम कर लियो, it means like you should do that work or complete that work. This is the statement. If a teacher going to ask to the student like are they able to do it, right? And then he will say "आ काम कर लोगे." That's how he asked, right? Anyway, now let's back to the simple sentences when you just make a statement. Look, like for first person, when you're talking about yourself, when the pronoun is I or मैं, right? You can say मैं आ काम कल नू करूँगा, right? This is a simple statement. It means I'll do this work tomorrow. Now, if a pronoun is second, like you, right? तू, then you can say तू आ काम कल नू करेगा, right? तू आ काम कल नू करेगा. Now here's a different ending a little bit. Like when it's you, it's करेगा. When the pronoun is I, then it's करूँगा. करेगा and करूँगा. करेगा, करूँगा. All right. See the difference. When I'm using मैं, then it's going to be करूँगा. when I'm using tu, then it's karenga. All right, karenga and karunga. So you can see the verb changes according to the pronoun. And another thing I'm gonna tell you is also depends on little bit people's accent, where they from. Like some people when they are gonna use मैं, I say मैं karunga. Some people say मैं karanga. All right, they say karanga. But where I live, we say karunga. All right. Now let's move to the third person, which means like he, she, they, whatever. Now, if you are talking about he, basically it's going to oh ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਕਰੂਗਾ. Now it's very similar to when I used it for मैं, right? But little different. Karunga, karuga, karunga, karuga. All right. So there's slightly difference. When I'm using मैं, then there's a nasal sound when I say karunga. Karunga. There's When I'm using for o karuga, then uga sound. Unga, uga, unga, uga. So you can see the little difference. All right. मैं आ काम कल ਨੂੰ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ. ਉਹ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਕਰੂਗਾ. All right. So if you want to find the difference, you can play it back and forth again and again, so you can find the difference between karunga and karuga. And this is now a big deal for a Punjabi learner if you're learning, and if you're a little bit like have hard time to find the difference, or when you are speaking you are mixing up. This is completely okay. This is not a big deal. You can improve later when you become an advanced level. But I'm just want to tell you there's a difference. So my purpose is to tell you what's going on in a formal or colloquial Punjabi, or what kind of differences you would see from a book, from a formal Punjabi, right, when we talk. So basically, when I'm talking about the Malwa accent. So I also know, I can also understand completely when somebody is speaking like the Baba or Maja, but like yeah, mostly like I forget what kind of ending they are using, how they, yeah. But if somebody is speaking, yeah, I can guess it. But when I'm talking, so basically I'm talking about Malba accent. And mostly, the most of the people lives in Punjab, they speak Malba accent. All right. And there are also little sub accents, even the Malwa Maja. So there are also multiple accents, a little bit. So not a big deal. They just slightly change at the end, right? So you will mostly see ending change a little bit. Even in it's like in Malba, like for example, there's some area in Malba. I think few villages, they say when we talk about in past, we ending with like C all the time. Akitasi, right? Stuff like that. They ending with T, like my akitati. All right, so that's how they do. So yeah, you can also find a little bit like sub accents, but yeah, so mostly people speak the Malba accent. And so yeah, so when I'm speaking, I'm just speaking the standard Malba accent. All right, so just keep in mind. Now, if you're talking about they, which means oh, right? ਉਹ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਗੇ, it means while they do this work tomorrow. ਉਹ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਗੇ. Now it's ਕਰਨਗੇ. All right, ਕਰਨਗੇ. So before, when I was talking about like a मैं is karunga when it's you, करेंगा when it's oh, he, a singular, it's karuga when it's they, then it's karnage. All right. So that's how we change, and that's how like because when we use o is for he, she, and they, right? But the ending of the sentence tells who is that person, singular, plural, male or female, right? Ending will tell you. Again, Carnegie, all right, for plural. Now let's talk about female version. If you're female, you will say कल नू मैं आकम करूंगी. All right, now it's karungi. For when it was male, then it was karunga. Karunga, karungi. All right, it's karungi. Now for second person, basically you, तू आ काम कल नू करेंगी. Right? Now it's karengi. When it is a male, then that was karenga, karengi, karenga, karengi. All right. With female is karengi. So you can also notice with female we make the sound e at the end. E, karengi, right? Karungi is e. When it's a male, it's ah. All right, ah sound for males. So for third person, she o a kam kalnu karugi. All right, karugi. For male, it was karuga. So again, even you are female, when you're talking about man, it's karungi. When you're talking about she, it's karugi. Karugi and karungi. Karugi and karungi. All right. So there's a nasal sound difference. You can play back and forth. So it is same for when we're talking about male. So for female is same. When you're talking about man and o, so only nasal sound difference. Karungi, karugi. So when it comes to plural, they, the female plural, then it's going to be ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਗੀਆਂ, ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਗੀਆਂ. Now ending with now is ending ਕਰਨਗੀਆਂ or ਕਰਨਗੀਆਂ. When it was a masculine plural, that time it was like a ਕਰਨਗੇ, ਕਰਨਗੇ, ਕਰਨਗੀਆਂ. All right. So when it's plural, when it's masculine plural, it's a sound at the end. Karnge, a sound. All right. When it's a female plural, then it's going to be like karn ginya inya. It's inya sound all the time. Karn ginya inya. All right. That's the difference. That's how verb changes. So when you're talking about like we will do that, right? In Punjabi, it's going to be like ਅਸੀਂ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. Now it's ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. All right. ਅਸੀਂ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ or ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. So if you don't know what is the difference between appa and see, and you can check out my YouTube channel. There's a video about it, so you can find the difference. Anyway, ਅਸੀਂ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. It means like we will do that work. Now it is same for a male or female. Basically, this is plural, right? So this same. There's no difference. But some people, when they say a little bit differently, the women especially, they say ਅਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੀਆਂ, ਕਰਾਂਗੀਆਂ. But in my area, even the women, they say ਅਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. All right, ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. I know that some women say ਕਰਾਂਗੀਆਂ. So it's totally fine. You can use whatever you want. So now if you yeah, definitely you can play it again and again. You can listen it again and again, so you can find the difference how we ending the verbs. All right. Now we talked about like a tu aa kam karenga, right? But when you're talking, if you're using tusi, you can use tusi for if you want to give a person respect, or you have to use tusi if they are people in plural, or there are people one than more. If two people, three people, or whatever, if it's more than one, then you have to use tusi. All right. So in that case, you would say tusi ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰੋਗੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰੋਗੇ. Now it's going to be a ਕਰੋਗੇ. All right. Keep in mind ਕਰੋਗੇ. All right. ਕਰੋਗੇ. So now it's karonge, but if you wanna give homework to people, then it's going to be like karlonge, right? No, not karlonge. Karlonge you would use when you're gonna ask them, like to see a kam karlonge, because it's their homework. Probably they not able to do it, so that's why you wanna make it confirm. You wanna ask them, like you will say to see a kam karlonge. All right. Again, if you don't raise the voice, like I just said, if you say to see kam kar longe, it means you are giving the statement. You are just saying to them like you can do this work. But if you want to ask the question, you have to raise your voice at the end, like to see kam kar longe, right? That's how you ask the question. Or you can put, if you can't do that, you have to put key at the beginning, like key to see kam kar longe. All right. This is more clear when you put key at the beginning. But we don't do that. I already talked about that. We don't do that. We just say the sentence. We raise the voice at the end. But sometimes we still make mistakes, like I just did. When first time I said, I just make a statement because I didn't raise my voice at the end. So yeah, that happens. But if I'm gonna give a home, not homework, if I'm gonna give a work, all of you, right? But it's going to be benefit me. I would say, "Tusi aa kam kar donge?" That's how I ask. Like, I wanna ask you, like, can you do this work for me? I want you ਸਕਦਾ. I won't say ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ. I just say ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਕੰਮ ਮੇਰੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕਰ ਦੋਗੇ. I use ਕਰ ਦੋਗੇ, right? That's what we say. So again, in the future, it's a little bit different kind of things. Like when you're gonna give a statement, kind of, I mean, a normal statement. That's, I already talked about that in our pronoun. That's how you have to ask. All right, when you are gonna ask a question about your needs or somebody's needs, what they should do or what you want what you want them to do, that time it's going to be a little bit different. All right, so I know it could be a boring for you because it's cool. It's went a little bit longer, I think now 26 minutes, but I think it's worth listening. So when you're listening to my podcast, like, you don't need to sit in the room to listen. Yeah, even you're driving, it's still gonna give you benefit. Just listen. You don't need to pay full attention. But if you have free time, that's going to be better if you listen in the room. Probably you can know some words, you can focus more. But if you don't have time, this is still really good to listen to podcasts when you're driving and stuff like that, or you are doing a work in your yard or whatever. So yeah, even you not getting it completely, but your ears are gonna be trained for, even you get a one word or two words correctly, this is still gonna give you a benefit. So anyway, now I'm gonna give you some more verbs. I'm not gonna give you examples of the sentences, but I'm just gonna give you some verbs, how they change according to the pronouns. Probably I won't give it to sequence. Maybe I missed some pronouns, but I'm gonna give you some idea like how they verb change a little bit according to like a pronoun, the singular or plural. All right, so खेडूंगा, मैं खेडूंगा, ਉਹ ਖੇਡੂਗਾ, ਤੂੰ ਖੇਡੇਂਗਾ, ਉਹ ਖੇਡਣਗੇ, ਮੈਂ ਖੇਡੂੰਗੀ, ਤੂੰ ਖੇਡੇਂਗਾ, ਤੂੰ ਖੇਡੇਂਗੀ, ਉਹ ਖੇਡੂਗੀ, ਉਹ ਖੇਡਣਗੀਆਂ. All right, which means like so this word was play. I play, I will play, she will play, stuff like that. Now the verb is go, right? I will go, मैं जाऊंगा, मैं जाऊंगी, तू जाएगा, तू जाएंगी, ਉਹ ਜਾਊਗਾ, ਉਹ ਜਾਊਗੀ, ਉਹ ਜਾਣਗੇ, ਉਹ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਓਗੇ, मैं देखूंगा, मैं देखूंगी, तू देखेगा, तू देखेंगी, ਉਹ ਦੇਖੂਗਾ, ਉਹ ਦੇਖੂਗਾ, ਉਹ ਦੇਖੂਗੀ, ਉਹ ਦੇਖਣਗੇ, ਉਹ ਦੇਖਣਗੀਆਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਾਂਗੇ. Alright, it means I'll see or I'll watch. Not all, I mean, because I'll watch means like मैं देखूंगा or मैं देखूंगी, but other pronoun is going to be different, like he watch, she watch, stuff like she will watch, he will watch. Anyway, now even I told you all how they changed the verbs. It was like a standard Malabar accent, but there's going to be a little bit different. Still, some people have different accents. Even the Malabar area, some people have their regional accent. They say it a little differently. Even when I listen, because nowadays there are a lot of people, they are making videos on Instagram or YouTube, and when I listen them, and sometimes like I don't even like listen that before, like how they're ending, because this is sometimes completely new for me. And but I can understand what they are saying. So basically, even if you don't understand, even they are saying a little bit differently what I taught you, you can still understand what they're talking about, right? So people had different accents, different endings. So this is not a big deal, right? If somebody like I tell you, like I say main karunga, it means I'll do. Some people say main karanga, right? Like like main khedunga, I will play main khedunga. Some people say main khedanga, all right? So maybe there will be other people, they use a little bit different, all right? So this is not a big deal. So at the end, at least you get the idea how verb will change. So my main point was verb changes in future, right? Like karna is going to be karunga, karanga, stuff like that. I already described. Like a khedna means play. Is khedunga, khedange. It changes, all right? It changes according to pronouns. It's a masculine, it's feminine, it's singular, it's plural. That's how it happens, all right? So my main purpose is to give you idea. The verb change. It's not stay. It's not stay the same, all right? So anyway, I hope you got some kind of idea, all right? So, if you think you are getting the value from this podcast and you wanna support this podcast, then you can support it through Patreon and PayPal. Links are in the description. Everything would be appreciated. It would also help this podcast to grow more. By the way, if you had time to understand Punjabi pronouns like active pronouns, passive pronouns, possessive pronouns, then check out my new ebook. It's completely free. Link is in the description. I hope you enjoyed the lesson and learned something new today. I'll be back with another lesson in another day.